Ah, so that's how shutter speed works. Oh, hey there, my friend. I didn't see you there. I thought today I would take you through a recent film photography adventure through the wild west coast, shooting a little Portra 400 and Kodak Gold 200 with the dynamic duo of the Pentax 6.7 and Leica M6. But before we get to it, I need you to lower your expectations, because the promise of Portra and the Pentax 6.7, and not to mention the Leica M6 and all that good stuff, has probably got you more excited than what these photos are about to deliver. Because there's another element to all of this that's going to dramatically reduce the quality of everything you're about to see. Me. And more specifically, my accidental underexposure of many of the pictures, a result of forgetting my light meter at home and simultaneously setting the wrong ISO on the Pentax 6.7's internal light meter, which required cranking things up during post-processing a little more, or a whole lot more than I would have liked. That said, both Portra 400 and Kodak Gold 200 are relatively forgiving film stocks with good dynamic range, so not all was lost, and I even ended up walking away with what may very well be one of my top 14 photos of all time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So our trip begins with a quick stop in a little town known as Coombs to stock up on some snacks and quickly visit the infamous goats on the roof. Now the question of how these goats got on that roof, we'll never know, but one day I'm planning on orchestrating a carefully crafted rescue mission to set them free, where they'll then be able to do what every goat truly longs to do: goat yoga. After a quick break for a snack and disposing of our garbage in these bulletproof, bear-proof garbage cans, well, it was time to get back on the road, as we had big plans for the next day. So when the sun rose the next morning, I was the first one up, camera in hand, ready to strike out and capture the wild and wonderful beauty of the West Coast, starting with Cox Bay, a beautiful beach with an unfortunate name in one of my favorite places on Earth, Tofino, British Columbia, Canada, North America, the Earth. Things started out good with these leading lines guiding me directly to the ocean. But then began the underexposure debacle, which, like I mentioned before, was lucky enough to have such loving and supporting film stocks to come to my rescue, turning what I was worried were going to be heaping piles of hot, smelly garbage into something at least half pleasing to look at. Then, though, I surprised myself with this shot. Something that could have been and should have been better exposed, but there was still something almost painterly in the colors and composition, and it turned out to be my second favorite shot of the entire trip. Later on in the day, the sun came out, started to get warmer, and things got significantly more average, and I walked away with only 2 shots that I was somewhat okay with. And so we packed up the minivan, Lamborghini, and drove the 30 minutes south to the town of Yakloolet, also known as Yuki, to get some tacos from Flacca's Tacos. They also happened to have this nifty little piece of art painted on the side of a shipping container, so I snapped it up as quickly as I snapped up my snapper fish tacos. They were cod, actually, but it's hard to tell the difference. From there, it was time to head to the Amphitrite Lighthouse in Yakloolet, one of the coolest walks with an amazing view that fortunately was bright enough to compensate for my lack of proper exposure planning. Standing on a rugged outcrop of rock, Amphitrite, which, side note, is a name that I basically never get correct, is not your typical flashy lighthouse, all dolled up in candy cane stripes. Nope, this squat little fellow is a mere 30 feet tall, but oh boy, does it pack a punch. Because it's not for using. It's like that tough-as-nails grandma who's weathered life's storms, but still stands resolute, dependable, and with an air of unyielding defiance. She's happy to bake you an apple pie and smack you upside the head for not saying thank you all at the same time. On a stormy day, the waves play an epic game of tag with the lighthouse, often crashing over the lower platform in a spectacular display of nature's power. You get this on film and you've bagged yourself a real David and Goliath moment. But today was nothing like that. It was hot, sunny, and about the worst possible time to take a photo with the sun directly overhead. Lucky for me, if you keep walking down the trail a little bit, you'll come to even more photo opportunities. Chances to redeem yourself and walk away with something at least somewhat aesthetically pleasing. The next day, still feeling frustrated with my lack of portfolio-worthy pictures, I headed into town. Downtown Tofino. Population, 1,932 people. This first shot was my attempt at being artsy. It would have been better black and white, I think, but the way the blue sky popped against the building still found kinda neat. A few more obligatory tourist-style photos of the bright blue museum and the weeping cedar woman carving, and then it was time to head to the skate park. Not to skate, because I'm an old man now with bad knees and back problems, but rather to see if there was anything worth capturing in this bustling metropolis. And that's when I came across this shot. There were dozens, maybe hundreds, maybe even billions of shoes hanging from a power line. A safety hazard, no doubt, but had a more skilled photographer with better exposure control had taken this shot, I've no doubt it would have been a banger. Then it was time to refresh with my masculine drink of choice, a bright pink guava soda. Also made some friends with the locals and hoped that they didn't poop on me. Back on the hunt for more photos, I ended up at the dock, where little did I know I was soon to capture my most exciting photo of the day. It wasn't this one, though I kind of like it too. Or this one that I feel tells a story with the boat leaving through the center, its wake acting like kind of a leading line to the mountain in the background. Nope, my favorite picture was this one. A float plane, sitting alone, waiting for adventure, and the small rustic shed by its side. Now, in a perfect world, I would have had a wider focal length to capture more of the plane. Or I would have been able to take a step backwards, but that would have resulted in me falling in the ocean, which would have been bad because A, I had one of my favorite cameras, my trusty little Leica, around my neck, and B, the ocean is a terrifying place full of all sorts of creatures straight out of an alien movie. The next day, feeling at least a little better, having captured 2 images that I wasn't totally disgusted with, I decided to head back to the beach to see if I could capture any more last-minute snaps before heading home. First, a quiet beach. Nothing special. But then, a surfer quietly walked into my frame, and I got what I'm going to call my third favorite photo of the trip. A lesson to always keep your camera handy, and your handies on your camera.